All right. First and foremost, I'm going to start off by saying, Call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makal Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who rule well and who taught me this truth. And shalom to you, Sensei Akim, out there listening, learning, and pushing this truth. And with that being said, I'm going to jump straight into this video. Lord's willing, it's edifying. All right. It may be a little long because I got a couple videos. I just got a couple scriptures, not too many. A few scriptures that I want to go into. But I got a couple videos. I'm not going to play them in their entirety, but it might be a little long because I want to play them and go into Rakal Kodash as usual. And like I said, Lord's willing, it's edifying. All right. Real quick, today is August 2nd, 2019. The topic, the theme of this video is going to be centered around basically the Federal Reserve cutting its interest rates, man, because that's big major news, man. All right. So before I chime in and put my 2 cents on it, I got a couple videos that I'm gonna play, and just bear with me. I might hop in and out. You know me, brothers. I'll be blibbity blabbing, but I mainly just want to let you hear other mainly Edomites, but other people, so-called experts, opinions on what's going on. We know what's going on through the scriptures, all right? But I just, it's good to pair up both, Matter of fact, the first scripture I'm going to start with is going to be, I'm going to read this first. I might come back to it, but I only got 3 scriptures, mainly I want to focus on the videos. But let me start with Jeremiah 51:5 first, okay? It says, For Israel, Yasharallah, hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, Yahweh, of his power, of the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Yasharallah, flee out of the midst of Babylon, which we know is America the Great, all right? And deliver every man his soul, and we know that's talking about spiritually flee, not physically. All right. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Yeah, he's going to pay her back for all the wickedness she's done to the children of Israel, and that she's continuing to do to the children of Israel. All right. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. That's why everybody wants to come here. America at one point was the epitome of Edomite success, man. You know what I'm saying? It was the land of milk and honey. You know what I'm saying? The land of dreams. Where if you wanted to do it, if you had the drive, so-called had the drive to make it, you can come here and make it. But that was all a facade, man. It was all a lie. It was all a dream. All right. Anyway, it says Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. Yeah, drunken with its philosophies, its ways of life. And how does Babylon do that? Chiefly through its beast system, which is NATO and the EU. It spreads its democracy and its corporations all over the world. All right. Basically, it says Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, yeah, in Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. But there is no hope for this place, man. This place is on its last leg. There's nothing you can do to heal this place. That's really why I wanted to do this video and let you hear other Edomites' perspective, man. You see, this place is on its last. The economy is hyperinflated. It's puffed up. You know what I'm saying? It's back behind nothing. FRN's funny money. You know what I'm saying? There's no real resources. The only thing that's puffing, that's making this place putting any type of fear or any type of which it's not even putting fear in these other nations heart anymore, because they have the missile also, the equalizer, the great equalizer. That was the only thing that was keeping this place, you know, somewhat in control, man. If you can receive it. That's why it was a golden cup. The Lord blessed them, Esau, Edom, with the sword. You know, he blessed this place with the first nuclear bomb, man. But hey, like the scripture said, let the weak say I'm strong, man. They tired of they tired of this place, man. They're hip to your game. They're hip to your MO. You know, your sins have been uncovered, man. Everybody can see your track record, that you are the devil the Bible speaks of, that you can't be trusted. You see? So this place will not be great again. Like Trump said, make America great again. It's impossible, man. It's on its last leg. It's on its last toe, man. Okay? And the Feds dropping the interest rates is a prime example of them being on their last leg, man. You see? Verse 51 and 8, Jeremiah 51 and 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Yeah, it ain't gonna make this place great again. Forsake her. That's why I said flee this place, man, spiritually. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Okay? So I just wanted to bring that out real quick, and because this place is done, man. It's on its last leg. Okay? And this is a major sign. But I'll let you hear it from these Edomites. All right, so this is off of CBS News. This is from yesterday, August 1st, 2019. It says Federal Reserve cuts interest rates for first time since 2008. And remember, 2008 was the so-called recession, you know, when the economy collapsed. You know, the housing market, the bubble popped, and, you know, a bunch of people got laid off and whatnot, you know. And really, the economy should have never came back after that, you know. But what they puffed it up, man. The banks bailed out. I mean, the government bailed out the central bank. The central banking system bailed out a lot of these corporations, man. You can watch the movie Too Big to Fail. You know, that shows you what was going on, man. You know, and why? And matter of fact, why did in the first place? Why did that happen? Why did that because of that clay, that thick clay, that debt, that usury. You know, they had a so-called fixed interest rates, man, or I forget, is it fixed or something like that? Basically, the interest rates were fluctuating on the houses, man. Bullshit. Like I said, this economy is puffed up. It's based on nothing, based on lies and deceit. All right, and trickery and all type of skullduggery, man. But anyway, let's play this video. Federal Reserve cuts interest rates for the first time since 2008. I probably won't play the whole thing. I'm just going to Rakal Kodash. The main video that I wanted to play is Salah. Is this one here. This is the main video that I want to play right here. All right. But I'm gonna play some of these first. Anyway, blibbity blabbing. Federal Reserve cuts interest rates for the first time since 2008. All right. Let's see what they have to say.
In Money Watch yesterday, the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates for the first time in more than a decade. The hope is to bolster the U.S. economy amid early signs of global slowdown.
The hope is to bolster. They're trying to heal this place, but this place is on its last leg. You know, this place is through. Not to mention all the sanctions, all the tariffs he's putting on people. You know, all the drama that's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. You know. You got North Korea testing its missiles again. You got uproars of the people all over the place. It's just like the Lord said. This place is through, man. This place is done, man.
Slowdown. CBS News business analysts, my favorite interest rates for the first time in more than. In Money Watch yesterday, the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates for the first time in more than a decade. The hope is to bolster the U.S. economy amid early signs of global slowdown. CBS News business analysts.
Global slowdown. So this is not just, this is the whole world. Why? Because Babylon had been a golden cup. So once Babylon falls, it's going to affect all the nations. That's why it's in the Revelations, they stood afar off. that, it says Allah's Babylon the Great is fallen, right? And they're gonna stand far off and see this place burning, man. And they're gonna lament and cry and weep and wail, man, because they got rich here. You see, because Babylon is a golden cup, man. Babylon, America the Great is the standard, man. So once this place is through, this whole man, the how about Shimmy how Shai is about to reign, man. It's the last empire, man. The Roman Empire coming all back into power, which is America, the beast, man. This the last heathen nation to rule, as it is written. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man. Ain't nothing you can do to save this place. You can lower interest rates. You can do whatever the hell. This place is through. Mass layoffs is happening, man. All around the place, all type of businesses are shutting down, and they doing it bit by bit, like Esau loves to do things gradually, so as to not upset the people, man. But if you watch and measuring the time diligently in itself, you can clearly see what time it is, man. Clearly see this place is through. You Edomites are through.
My favorite, Jill Schlesinger, is here to explain how the central bank's move impacts
the central bank. Like we always say, we're not concerned with you lower level Edomites, man. We want your nobles, you Rothschilds, you Gettys, you Vanderbilts, you Rockefellers, you DuPonts, you Bushes. Okay, that's who we concerned. That's the Amalek, the chief house of Edom. Okay, that's who's ruling this place, man. You see.
Analyst, my favorite, Jill Schlesinger, is here to explain how the central bank's move impacts everyday people. You know, this news is good for savers, but maybe not necessarily for borrowers.
It's the other way around. So it's bad news if you're a saver.
Okay.
And here's
great news for savers.
You know, so
the average person is trying to save, man. And if you notice, that's another telltale sign that this economy's through. People aren't spending the way they used to spend. If you watch the last couple so-called Christmases, they haven't been going out and spending, man. Black Friday and all those events, people haven't been spending. They've been really in a frugal state, kind of saving. People haven't even been really buying cars like that, if you have any common sense. You know, people are buying used cars or just holding on to whatever they have. You see, people are hurting. You would never guess based upon social media because they putting on for the gram. They fronting, but everybody's hurting, man. Everybody, money-wise, people are hurting. People got to work 2-3 jobs, man. Gotta have a full-time job and a part-time job, or 2-3 part-time jobs. This place is through, man.
savers are under pressure because what they're going to now see is a little bit less of an interest rate credited to a checking savings.
He said savers are in trouble, man. We already hurting. So now you got a little bit of money in your 401k. You got a little bit of money in your savings account. They're going to lower the interest rates, meaning that you're not going to say you were fortunate enough to have money sitting in the bank, and you could just let the shit sit in there and acquire wealth, man. But what are they? They're lowering the interest rates. Fucking you. You see? This place is through.
Under pressure because what they're going to now see is a little bit less of an interest rate credited to a checking.
Great news for savers.
So savers are under pressure because what they're going to now see is a little bit less of an interest rate credited to a checking, savings, money market, maybe a CD. So it's a little change. It's a cut, right? And it's not terrible. They're still outpacing inflation.
Right.
Borrowers, it's good news for.
They are outpacing inflation. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Go do your research on what inflation is and hyperinflation, man. It's all bullshit. This place should have been. It should have been fell, man. You know, the only reason this place ain't going down yet is obviously because it must be some more of the elect need to be sealed, man. The Lord is only concerned with the elect of Yasharallah, man. Sealing the 144,000, man, and the 1/3 of believers, man. That's the only reason. But this place is through. This place should have been wiped out years ago. Okay? But hey, the Lord is long suffering, merciful, that all may come to repentance. All right? But he's on his way, man.
And here's why. The Federal Reserve controls short-term interest rates. That means if you are one of the millions of Americans who carries a credit card balance from month to month, that interest rate could go down by a little bit. If you are shopping for a new auto loan, you might find slightly cheaper pricing. If you've got
because they're trying to encourage you to spend to get that debt because people aren't doing it. People are saving. People are in a frugal in a saving mind state because the economy is crap, man. But they lie. They talk with a forked tongue, man.
Home equity line of credit, and it's tied to a short-term interest rate. You may.
As a matter of fact, that's kind of the same thing they did with the house. That's why the housing bubble popped in the first place. They put the interest rates on the houses so damn low that people that couldn't normally afford the house were able to afford the house. Then when the time was whatever the time was allotted in the loan, the interest rate on the loan jumped up to whatever was properly whatever it should have been in the beginning. Like say you bought a house and the interest rate you were paying on your house was, I'm just throwing a number, 5%, right? That's what they gave you. You're a first time home buyer and all this good shit, right? Oh, you got so-called good credit. Yeah, we'll let you buy this house. It's $150,000. Your interest on it is going to be 5%, right? But it was fixed, so it would be 5%. You would pay a 5% interest on that house for about, let's say, 10, 15 years, right? But then after the 10, 15 years, it would jump up to like 30%. You know, and that's why people were losing their houses. So for them dropping it, that's not a good thing, man. They're hyperinflating the economy. It shouldn't be so. It should be supply and demand. They're fucking with the natural way things should be. Why? Because this place is through. They're trying to puff this economy up, man.
Find that your next billing cycle.
I didn't even get through the first video. It's a lot, man.
Shows, hey, you're going to pay a little bit less. So borrowers for short term, not long term. And I make that distinction because a lot of people say, Fed cut rates, I'm going to refinance my mortgage.
Right.
Here's the problem. Mortgage rates are not connected to the Fed's actions. Mortgage rates are tied to
so this has nothing. Last time it was the housing. So now they're trying to go after cars and credit card. Wow. Okay. Because last time it was the housing market, the housing bubble that crashed.
Longer term
in
bond.
2008.
Now the good news though, if you are looking to refinance, those rates are down to 3-year lows. So if you are carrying a mortgage and you might want to refinance, now's a good time to look.
Now what about student loans? Because we've even heard a lot about that on the campaign trail with younger voters. What does this mean for them? 90%
of student loan borrowers get their loans through the federal government. Those plans are adjusted once a year. So they just adjusted down a tiny bit in the beginning of July. So this move by the Fed does not impact those fixed government loans. However, if you have a private loan and that loan is variable, it may be slightly cheaper. But for most student borrowers, you got your rate, you're stuck with that rate right now.
Understood. And usually it's such a low rate, like you said. It's good if you're paying it on time. You stay at that rate, you're in good shape.
Yeah, just use this opportunity if your rate does go down to get a jump on it. Pay some stuff down.
Pay a little bit more.
That's right.
And also, you said this was something that people in the investor, in the community, in your world were expecting. This wasn't necessarily...
Look, I'm gonna end this video, man. There's more edifying video. Let me close this on that. Let's see. I just want to let you hear it out of a couple people's mouths, man. You do your own research, man. You know, I'm not no economic expert, but I could clearly see what time it is. This is from yesterday also, August 1st, 2019. CNBC television. It says potential Fed pick Shelton. The global economy is in a very dangerous situation. I repeat that again. This is from yesterday, August 1st, 2019. The global economy is in a very dangerous situation. Okay. Matter of fact, let me perfect time to get another scripture. Okay. Let me go to Habakkuk. Okay, because this is what this is really centered around. That thick clay, that debt. I bought that clay, that debt. This is Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that clay is I bought your debt, man. How long, man? It only can go on for so long. This economy can only be hyperinflated for so long. It's a bubble. It's a bubble. Eventually it's going to pop. Okay? And once Babylon's bubble pops, the whole world is in trouble. That's why I said the global economy is in trouble. Because Babylon has been a golden cup, man. They all got rich here, man. Off the backs of slaves. They all licked our wounds when that's what it all boils down to. All these other nations come here and get rich off of Israel. Yasharallah, man. Okay? They set up their corporations and make us slaves, man. You know, while they get rich. Anyway, let's play this video.
Prospective nominee for Fed governorship by the Trump administration, Dr. Judy Shelton. And before we get into this, viewers, listeners, 3-second delay, we'll do our best. Judy, I would like to start out reading a Washington Post quote from the 22nd of July in an article where you were advocating a 50 basis point decrease at yesterday's meeting. Here's what you said. I do think global conditions and the clear monetary paths being signaled by other central banks are a factor in considering how much our own Federal Reserve might choose to lower on July 31st. My question to you is, are we now in a covert game of trying to neutralize perceived advantages by policies of other central banks and its effect on not only interest rates, but on foreign exchange?
Yes, Rick, I'm afraid that is the reality of the situation. When the Fed or any other central bank talks about stimulus these days, it's not to stimulate growth. The effect of 25 basis points.
She said when they talking about stimulus, it's not to stimulate growth. So what is it for then? It's not for the people. You see? Wow. Man, these devils, man. How long? That thick clay, man.
Yes, Rick, I'm afraid that is the reality of the situation. When the Fed or any other central bank talks about stimulus these days, it's not to stimulate growth. The effect of 25 basis points is like tasing an inert body. It's not causing any growth to be stimulated. But it is having an effect in currency markets, and we're in a very dangerous situation.
Because the dollar's weakening. The dollar, matter of fact, not just the dollar, money, paper money in general. They're trying to transition to that digital currency, man. The economy has to fall, though. The paper money economy has to fall. Order out of chaos. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices, man. In order for this mark of the beast RFID system to be fully implemented, the paper money must go down. The economy has to crash, man. It's part of it, man. It's going to be mass layoffs. It's going to be uproars of the people. It's going to be all manner of hell, man. That way they can fully implement the chip. That's going to be the fix, the solution. You know, that's going to be the fix, the great fix, man. You see? That's why most of y'all going to take that chip, man. And if you take that chip, you're going to be destroyed.
The effect of 25 basis points is like tasing an inert body. It's not causing any growth to be stimulated. But it is having an effect in currency markets, and we're in a very dangerous situation. It's not unlike the 1930s when you had beggar thy neighbor.
The 1930s, she mentioned the 1930s. What happened in the 1930s? The Great Depression. So they trying to tell you, I mean, you got to read between the lines, man. This place is through. This is a Great Depression. The Great Depression was the worst economic downturn in the history of the industrialized world, lasting from 1929 almost to 1930. She said 1930s is what she said. Not from 1929 to 1939. It began after the stock market crash of October 1929, which sent Wall Street into a panic and wiped out millions of investors. And like the scriptures, there's no new thing under the sun, man. Esau's not that smart. He's a one-trick pony. He does the same thing over and over, man. And it's telltale signs, man. Okay? It's a lot. What was that? What was that? And I was watching this one. It's a lot. So like I said, she said it's unlike the 1930s, man. It's unlike Rome when Rome fell. The bread and circus and the same thing, the distractions. The same thing over and over, man. But this the last time this gonna happen, man.
In effect in currency markets, and we're in a very dangerous situation. It's not unlike the 1930s when you had beggar thy neighbor, competitive depreciations where one nation after another devalued its currency against its trading partners. In those days, it was
one nation after another devalued their currency. Wow. And I'm gonna stop this right here because like it's a global thing, man. It's a pattern that's not just happening here. You know, it's happening all over, man. It's not just the people are not in an uproar just in Brexit. It's all over. The people are being oppressed all over the world by who? Amalek, the central banking system. Okay. I don't want to make it too long, man. Let me keep pushing because this is the main video that I wanted to play, man. Do your own research though, man. Look up the economy, man. This is old. This is from July 2nd, 2019. Bloomberg Markets and Finance. Rubina, it's a scary time for the global economy. So they've been screaming this. People been saying this, man. It's obvious. Just like the prophecies are coming to pass are obvious. It's obvious this place is through.
Going on with the world right now, with Washington pitting itself against Beijing, or should I say Donald Trump perhaps pitting himself against the rest of the world here, Nuril?
Well, I think it's a bit of a scary time for the global economy. There is a sharp slowdown in global economic growth. We went from an expansion to a slowdown. And I think that there are risks of a global recession and financial crisis by next year. And I would say among the tail risks, there are two very big. One, the risk of a Cold War on tech and trade and geopolitically between U.S. and China. I think that what has happened in Osaka is not a success, that two sides are completely disagreeing on all the main issues regarding trade, IPR.
But is it about trade? Is it about trade?
It's not just about trade. I would say trade is actually the least of the problems right now. We have now a global rivalry between U.S. and China about who's going to be controlling the industries of the future, AI, automation.
Hey, right there. That's what it's really about. Who jockeying for power because they know that this is going to be a cashless society. That's America is trying to keep its hegemony. But China, all these other countries, they know whoever controls this RFID microchip, whoever controls this cryptocurrency, whoever controls this is going to so-called control. That's what they feel. And that's what you see happening now. Everybody's fighting over that. AI, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, man. That's the wave. That's why he put sanctions on what? Huawei or whatever? Well, Huawei was a phone company, a tech company. That's the wave, man. That's the wave. I'm gonna replay this right quick. And I'm not going to play the whole video. Just play some of it again.
Beijing, or should I say Donald Trump, perhaps pitting himself against the rest of the world here, Nuril?
Well, I think it's a bit of a scary time for the global economy. There is a sharp slowdown in global economic growth. We went from an expansion to a slowdown. And I think that there are risks of a global recession and financial crisis by next year. And I would say among the tail risks, there are two very big. One, the risk of a Cold War on tech and trade and geopolitically between U.S. and China. I think that what has happened in Osaka is not a success, that two sides are completely disagreeing on all the main issues regarding trade, IPR.
But is it about trade? Is it about trade?
It's not just about trade. I would say trade is actually the least of the problems right now. We have now a global rivalry between U.S. and China about who's going to be controlling the industries of the future, AI, automation, for 5G, and all the other major industries. There is
oh man, you can't make this stuff up. 5G, that's what they need to run that cashless society. That's what they need for the Internet of Things. Man, we almost out of here, man. We almost out of here. I'm gonna play this one real quick. This is Rethinking the Dollar from yesterday again, August 1st, 2019. All major central banks are cutting interest rates RTD Quick Take. So this is his thoughts on it right quick. All right? I'll let you hear what he says.
Hey there. Hope all is well. Want to share my thoughts on Jerome Powell's decision, or the FOMC's decision, to take a backwards turn towards their normalization of rates, supposedly, to actually, as they said, in somewhat of insurance, getting ahead of the curve, or the catastrophe that's underway, more so. But anyway, so with a quarter-point drop in the interest rate yesterday, it made headline news everywhere. And so, of course, the central bank, Federal Reserve, being the biggest bank, the leading bank around the world because of its reserve currency status, it's very important news because, once again, but when was the last time interest rates were actually dropped? I believe it was due to the great financial recession, great financial crash, whatever we want to call it. And so the fact that they are backpedaling now on their own policies, and especially after having watched the Q&A session after Jerome Powell delivered his prepared speech, it let me know more so that these people are truly playing it by whim. They're just throwing it up in the air and seeing where it lands and seeing how they can keep themselves in position a little bit longer as this thing unfolds. But one thing I want to shine some light on is I'll actually put the link below. But this current month has been a very busy month for a lot of central banks. Not only has
that's why I wanted to play this, because, like I said, all the videos and everything I was watching, they made it seem like it was just our central bank, but no, it's a lot of the central banks were cutting its rates. But it's a global thing, and they all are in cahoots with each other. They all are ran by the same families. Okay, so they're all in league with each other. It's really they're really playing chess, man. You know, they doing things behind the scenes, trying to get shit in order. You know, so they can fully implement the mark of the beast, man. That's really what it's about. You know.
Themselves in position a little bit longer as this thing unfolds. But one thing I want to shine some light on is I'll actually put the link below. But this current month has been a very busy month for a lot of central banks. Not only has the Federal Reserve decided to cut, as of total, I think I got in front of me here, about 7 central banks around the world have also been cutting their interest rates. And due to the fact that a lot of nations are feeling that economic crunch, economic pinch. And so, once again, typical indicators would be recessionary issues, such as a couple things that Jerome Powell mentioned about manufacturing slowing down. And there's a variety of other indicators, of course, the yield curve and things of that nature. And so, actually, if you want a better understanding of all the indicators that are pretty important, worthy of noting about, take a look at the previous video I did with David Haggith, who laid out 10 indicators that lets him know that the recession is right now. And so definitely one thing that I took away from yesterday's rate cut is that if typically rates are dropped in a recession, then that lets me know that we truly are in a recession. That
boom,
they decide
right there, common sense. They cut rates usually in a recession. Just like I said, we're at war, but they're not telling you we're at war. You know, we're in the beginning stages of it. But they don't want to panic the people. Just like they never want to panic the people, because as soon as the people get wind of what's really going on, they're going to go withdraw all their money out of the banks. That's what happened with the Great Depression. You see? Once they find out that we're fully at war and the major scale of this war, motherfuckers going to be trying to, you're going to have draft daughters again, man. You see? Ain't nobody going to be signing up to go over there to die. You see? So they lie and they do fuckery, skullduggery, man. Okay, but we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We know what time it is, man. Your economy is done. You know, it's about to be mass layoffs. You know, the dollar's about to collapse. You know, we know what the hell is going on, man. Okay.
I took away from yesterday's rate cut is that if typically rates are dropped in a recession.
And this is a common sense thing. It's common sense if you use your brain. But people lack common sense. You see? They trust in Egypt, man. They trust in oppression. They trust in this wicked-ass society.
I took away from yesterday's rate cut is that if typically rates are dropped in a recession, then that lets me know that we truly are in a recession, that they decided to cut a quarter point yesterday. But as I mentioned, also 7 other banks. So I'll call off briefly, but definitely take a look below
because
this video.
the global economy is in a recession. That's why the people are out there protesting in Puerto Rico and Greece and France, you know.
But just looking in front of me now, they're out of the 7 banks, the deepest drop in interest rates happened to be from the Turkish bank. And so they went from 24% down to 19.75. So a full 4.25 point drop as of last week. Of course, mainstream news, you hear nothing about that. But yet everyone in alternative media news know that Turkey's having issues and their currency is suffering heavily because of it as well. Actually, yesterday, the same time Jerome Powell was probably giving a speech, looks like Brazil dropped from 6.5% down to 6%. So they dropped a whole 0.5 point themselves. And then every other nation on the list are all nations that are, things that you definitely wouldn't hear about unless you lived in those countries. But yet, even still, when you have 7 central banks in the same month decide to drop, as well as on this list here, there's a total of about 20 or so banks that have all dropped relatively in the last year or so. That lets me know that not only from a global standpoint, things are slowing down, but yet internally in a lot of these countries here, they're all experiencing economic issues where they're forced to.
You see, the people are hurting because when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. You see, Babylon has been a golden cup. It spread its bullshit, its usury, all the bullshit through democracy, through the central banking system. You see, made the nations mad, man. But how long? How long, man?
To try to keep their economies or prop their economies up by incentivizing debt, by dropping interest rates. And so it definitely lets me know that right now the recession is now, I've never been more convinced as opposed to what I'm seeing right now with the fact that they are dropping rates without there actually been a recession according to their own measurements, but yet to get ahead of the recession, to keep this expansion going, as Jerome Powell mentioned, they decided to drop rates. So definitely I wanted to bring this article to you guys' attention because definitely.
All right, so let me shut it down. Let me because I want to, like I said, it's already 37 minutes. This dude here goes and says some good stuff. Let me actually make sure I hit the scriptures because I might shut it down after this video. Let me bring this out again. Straight to the point. Jeremiah 51:8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. All right? Let me bang these out. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, the bad times, Jacob's trouble, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Seek the Lord while he may be found, man. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, meaning there ain't gonna be no work out here, man. Layoffs, mass layoffs. Hey, matter of fact, I don't want to get into that because I want to make it too long. Like just talking about mass layoffs, man. It's coming. It's coming. Especially all you people that have these simple minuscule jobs, man. That are going to be replaced with AI, artificial intelligence, man. You know. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the window, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding, meaning work, is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Okay? Because we're coming into these times. We're coming into this time, man. Bad times, man. Mass layoffs. Okay? Habakkuk. Let me start up a little bit. I'm going to start up at 2. I'm going to start at 2 and 2. Habakkuk 2 and 2. And the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth. That readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And it's speaking, it's screaming. Like the brother said in his video, he's convinced that we're in a recession. He's never been more convinced. Why? Because the vision, the prophecies are speaking, man. It's obvious what times we're in. Okay? It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not, it's talking about Esau, Edom. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. That's us, Yasharallah. Lord's willing, we be those men, the elect, all right? It says, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, Esau, Edom. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, saying, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee? Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be for booties unto them. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Okay? That's your judgment, man. We're drastically approaching it. Okay? So I'm going to end it with this video here. Okay? This is, again, Rethinking the Dollar. This is from July 30th, 2019. It says, the economy is running downhill pretty fast, with David Haggett. Okay? And I'm going to just play some of this, and I'll shut it down on this, man. All right?
And I predicted at the beginning of this year that we would be in a recession by summer, and that seemed like a pretty brash prediction. And now, as we look at economic changes that are happening right now, the economy is running downhill pretty fast in a lot of ways.
Thanks for watching this RTD interview. Don't forget to pick up your RTD Scary George round, only available at stbullion.com. Now enjoy this interview. Thanks for joining me for this Rethinking the Dollar interview. Today I'm excited to have returning guest, Mr. David Haggett, the author and creator of the Great Recession blog.info. Today, David joins us to share his thoughts on the global economy, as well as a couple key indicators that points to the idea that we're currently in a recession. So I'm happy to have you back on the show, Dave. Welcome back to Rethinking the Dollar.
Mike, glad to join you.
Well, I appreciate you taking time to sit down and share your thoughts on what's going on in this world right now. There's a lot of things happening. So we are currently 10 years, post Great Recession, as far as the entire meltdown, and we've saw a variety of monetary policy and tools that have been implemented that have brought us to this point now. And so currently, halfway through the year 2019, what are some things that you see or things that concern you that you're probably writing about or warning people about at this current moment?
Well, it's kind of a two-handed thing that I'm looking at is one, I'm looking at just the whole general economic condition and how rapidly it's deteriorating. And I predicted at the beginning of this year that we would be in a recession by summer. And that seemed like a pretty brash prediction because I hadn't heard anybody else saying that. And I thought, well, I'm kind of putting myself way out on a limb here to predict a date that soon because most people were saying, oh, a year, maybe 2 years. And well, that's kind of a pretty safe bet. But I felt like it probably would be here by summer, so I was just going to go out there and say that. And now, as we look at economic changes that are happening right now, the economy is running downhill pretty fast in a lot of ways. And I just did a recent article on that, and I laid out 10 steps down the road to recession that we've already taken. And there's some pretty big steps. So that's one side of where the economy is going. The other side is some of the interesting speeches by the Federal Reserve and the Bank for International Settlements. Maybe it should be sediments in the last couple of years or in the last couple of months about going to digital currencies and about the need for the Fed to make...
About doing what? The Federal Reserve, the central banking system, wants to go to digital currencies? Is that the chip they talking about? Is that the chip they talking about? Order out of chaos. It's a plan. They got an agenda. They got to crash the economy to bring in the chip, man. Man, this is beautiful. Call lawyer Hashemi Hawashai. Destroy this fucking place.
Right now, the economy is running downhill pretty fast in a lot of ways. And I just did a recent article on that. And I laid out 10 steps down the road to recession that we've already taken. And there's some pretty big steps. So that's one side of where the economy's going. The other side is some of the interesting speeches by the Federal Reserve and the Bank for International Settlements. Maybe it should be settlements in the last couple of years or in the last couple of months about going to digital currencies and about the need for the Fed to make such massive changes and how it goes about things that it needs to hold town meetings to prepare the public for it. And I found that really fascinating.
What? Let me rewind that one more again. Oh my goodness. Massive changes, and they want to have public meetings. They trying to condition people to the chip, man, to go in cashless because the dollar's done. Not only if the dollar's done, all the paper money's done, man. Okay? That's the wave. That's what we're looking for, the mandatory implementation of the RFID microchip. And we close, man. Very close.
Pretty big step. So that's one side of where the economy's going. The other side is some of the interesting speeches by the Federal Reserve and the Bank for International Settlements. Maybe it should be settlements in the last couple of years or in the last couple of months. About going to digital currencies and about the need for the Fed to make such massive changes and how it goes about things that it needs to hold town meetings to prepare the public for it. And I found that really fascinating. So I've written some of my premium posts, which are the ones that only people who support the website with donations get. But I'd be free to share some of that with your viewers now if you wanted to, too.
All right. Well, I like where we're heading thus far. Let's unwrap some of that. So you said two things or two areas you're focused on. The very first one, you mentioned that you were willing and wanting to just basically say by summer of this year, there will be a recession. And so apart from just your personal opinion, were there any type of indicators or anything that really led to you being able to say that this summer would be that recession type of talk? And we're here now. So what are some things that gave you that insight there?
Yeah, so the 10 steps that I laid down the road we've taken, the first one is the big decline in factory orders and manufacturing. And that's fallen off really steeply for about the last 6 months. And has now gone into a negative contraction mode.
They're already laying people off, man. Ford, GM, Toys R Us, all over if you're paying attention. People getting laid off left and right, man. Left and right.
How much manufacturing is
and another telltale sign that this economy is through, which I noticed the other day. I was driving down the street and I saw a sign and it said McDonald's was hiring, and I'm in Florida, all right, and it said that they were starting out at I think $12, $13 an hour. That's unheard of, man. McDonald's paying people $12 an hour. That show you something's off, man. Something is out of whack. It's off kilter. Okay, something's afoot, man.
Falling off, according to the Dallas Fed survey, the Empire State survey, and several other surveys that have shown manufacturing is now some surveys show it just entering decline, some show it just about to enter a time of contraction. And then people have looked at the services sector of the economy and said, well, manufacturing is down, but services are up, and they were building hope based on that. But services are no longer up. They too are almost at that decline or contraction threshold. Then we've got the inversion of the yield curve that's happened. And, whenever the yield curve is inverted, we've gone into recession shortly thereafter, and we've been in an inversion now for a few months' time. Unemployment has begun to rise, and it's just barely begun to tick up, but that's usually right where a recession starts, as we go on this long downhill slope of unemployment, and then we kind of get this where we just start to form a trough at the bottom, and at the first little uptick at that trough, you'll see often that's exactly where recessions time out when they're eventually declared. The thing is, of course, the recession doesn't get declared until 6 months after it happens, so we don't always know we're in it until it's almost over. Other steps that I laid out were just the recent market IPO insanity. You know, it seems like unprofitability is no obstacle anymore to creating an IPO. It's almost a cherished trait of IPOs, just like it was back in the dot-com bust. And we have more unprofitable IPOs being offered now than we have had since the time of the dot-com bust. Housing continues in decline. Car sales continue in decline.
I told you. People ain't buying nothing no more. They're in a saving. They're in a saving. They're trying to save, man. People trying to save. You know, you got a lot of people that giving up their cars and taking Uber and Lyft and riding the bus and shit like that. Like I said, this place is through, man. You got a lot of people, like I said, got a regular job and got to do Uber and Lyft, drive for Uber and Lyft, and post and these different app jobs on the side. Cause this place is through, man. And then on the back end, you got these no offense to nobody that work in fast food, you got these lower level jobs paying $12, $13 an hour, man. That's crazy. Something's out of whack. Okay. Anyway, watch this whole video, man. I'm gonna shut it down. It's already 51 minutes. Do your own research, man. Okay, this whole video was fire. This whole video is good. He goes into a lot of things. Okay. But like I said, I think I made this video long enough, man. Go watch this whole video, man. This the main video. So like I had wanted to play more of it, but hey, it is what it is. This is off of Rethinking the Dollar. Like I said, from July 30th, 2019. The economy is running downhill pretty fast with David Haggith. He goes into a lot of a lot of insight, man. You know, some of the stuff was going over my head because I'm not no big economic guru, man. You know, but I do know them damn scriptures. Okay? But anyway, like I always say, man, we almost out of here, man. Keep measuring the time, to keep watching, keep your eyes on the prophecies, man. Repent, you know. Like I said, the Lord gonna come as a thief in the night. As soon as you ain't paying attention, you might get laid the fuck off, man. You might come to work one day and we out of business, man. You know. Then what you gonna do? You are gonna be assed out. You are gonna be hurting. You are gonna be hurting. Okay. That's why the scripture said we walk by faith, not by sight. You know, just have man, focus on your how about you know how it shine. Do what you do what we're supposed to do, you know, do them videos, read, study, fast, pray, and just hope that Yahweh Shai have mercy on you, man. Because we coming into some serious times, man. And it's approaching quickly. Okay? But anyway, with that being said, Lord's willing is edifying. And like I always say, we almost out of here, man. Keep pushing. Shalom.